Anticipation of the show put you on edge. The music shifts you, you can't get it out of your head.
Hello and welcome to FireRock Talk. I'm Tom Collier, host. Today's co-host is Canedy, and we're talking to the band GraveReign. We've got Tony and Dave for them. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing very well. How you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. Thank you for having us here, Tom. Carl, nice to meet you.
Great.
Nice to meet you. And you too, Tony.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, well, I'm going to start right off. This first question I'm going to throw is to Tony. You know, the Icon of the Accursed album just is coming out on FireRock. I love the fact that it goes back not just centuries to evil people. It's not just serial killers and stuff. What was the theme for that? Because I'm a big buff on that stuff. I love and follow that stuff all the time. Go ahead, Tony. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the same. I had actually pitched it to Dave. I was playing Diablo a lot, and we were going to do a good guys, bad guys version of it. And unfortunately, we couldn't find too many good people. You know, just the good people we did find, there was a lot of evil in them. So we ended up steering it toward the bad guys. And yeah, I'm a buff on that stuff too. I love, I was fascinated by Jim Jones. And that took place when I was 5 years old. And obviously our age was more of the David Koresh side. So
Nice. So Dave, did you have in the writing process, did you guys write this together? Let's talk a little bit about that.
What Tony and I do that makes our collaboration so wonderful, besides being best friends, is that everything he and I talk about, we're 99.9% always on the same page. And yes, as we all know as musicians, people can have differences of opinion, but what works so well with this band and why it's our favorite band and for he and I is we're always on the same page. And if we disagree about something, we find out very quickly what's the disagreement and we get it to where it gels like a well-oiled machine. I came to Tony and said, well, we want to do this next record. Should it be a variation on Destination Aftermath? And I said, what if we do something about real live bad people? Because he was talking about bad people from video games and life. And I said, well, I got this idea. Why don't we do something starting with Genghis Khan, maybe Jack the Ripper? And one thing I love about Tony that he's very, very great at that we work with is he'll come up with an idea, or I will, and Tony will investigate. Go back and read, find books. What did Jack the Ripper do? When was he? What happened? What was Genghis Khan? How did he die? What was he about? Because we're talking about real life people that really did this back then. Not, well, the dragon flew down and killed the kingdom. That's all wonderful because no bands have ever done that before. Right? So Tony and I dig in like going to the library, and he always does a story map. And then when he gives me an idea, I know what to write. When I tell him, I got this idea, let me send it to you, then we start culminating together everything. And that's, I think, why we work so great together, because we dig in each other's minds and we know where we're at 24/7.
Carl, you go ahead and ask a question. You're up.
Well, I just wanted to say, it's obvious you guys are a team. I listened to some stuff and I was blown away. And I thought, I loved the solo in Jack the Ripper. I mean, that's a really cool solo. I loved it. But it is cool. I mean, Tony, you're obviously digging into those lyrics in the background, and it just pulls it off. And I love the theme. I love the whole concept of that. Very, very cool. But I think the fact that what you were saying, David, is that it's really not always easy to find as a musician in a band where you are cohesive and you have like minds, because usually there's a rub, and sometimes that rub becomes synergy and something greater comes out of it. But a lot of times it drags things down, and it sounds like you guys have a great collaborative working relationship.
Very well said. I appreciate that too. Sometimes when in other bands I've been in, and Tony as well, you try and get too many captains, and somebody has to help steer the ship. With me and Tony, It's always me and him. We're equal and we discuss and everything we do. He may come to me sometime and go, I love that verse. I'm going to extend it to the intro and just do a sound effects thing. And I'm like, wait, you're taking a verse and extending it. But then once we put it all in, it's like the whole intro turns into something different, atmospheric, that leads us into where we're going, that builds upon our storytelling, because that's what GraveReign does. I don't think we have one song, and Tony's going to come at me on this one, that's less than 5 minutes or 6. We did a song on the first record, and when I sent it to him, he went, you got 12 minutes of an intro. Where do I sing? And then he started putting the lyrics together, and we shortened it down, I think, to like 10 minutes. Tony, take over.
It's 11 minutes at 68 BPM.
Wow.
And he found the story and the lyrics and the melody. And with Tony and I, another thing for guitar players, singers, and Carl, you probably and Tom know this, I can go to Tony with no problem. When I send him a song, I record my voice just going intro. Okay, first verse, sub-verse, chorus, boom, second verse. So when he hears it the first time, he knows what's in my mind from just beginning to end. And sometimes I'll have a chorus hook or a verse hook. I'll sing it to him the best I can, and he'll take that and run with it and come up with parts for that. Like he'll say to me sometimes, hey, I like that thing you do with the solo and the bar and that. Why don't you wait and try that a little later at the end? And I'll go, okay, boom. And then we like it. So we're not offending each other. We're not telling each other what to do. We're bouncing off each other to shift here, shift there. And it always works for us because not only respect, love is friendships. Our minds, when we write music and talk, are so connected. It just works for us, and I'm sure it does with other bands. But
you're laser focused on what your project is, and you're both dialed that in. And I think the vocal mapping is really important, because when I write songs, a lot of times I'll sing as best I can, but a lot of times I have ideas, and I've never thought to do vocal mapping. Like I have a new idea I sent the guy, so I'm like, now that you said that, I'm going to do vocal mapping. This is what I envision. It can go in whatever direction, but this should be the pre-chorus and so on. That's brilliant.
Well, it helps the singer, know where I'm at in my mind, so Tony can go, okay, now I know what Dave's calling a verse, sub-verse, bridge, and then he'll come back at me with his ideas and say, hey, I'd like this a little longer, and copy and paste it, so we develop the machine together.
And I would say that the biggest thing that helped us on both albums really is that we've done these both as concepts. So we kind of storyboarded every song out before it's actually happened. And when we storyboard, I can go, Dave, this song needs to be sleazy. This song needs to be sad, So we kind of know where we're going to go with it well in advance of the actual writing. And then so I let Dave just do his thing. He'll be like, hey, I got a riff. I'm thinking this is either that song or that song. And I'll listen to it and I'll go, yep, it's definitely that one, that kind of thing.
Right,
so
exactly.
That's kind of how we start out and flesh the whole piece out. And I think that that's what's worked well for us, because Dave's in Milwaukee and I'm in Chicago. So we're not exactly in the studio with each other all the time. So we're trading demos back and forth. And this seems storyboarding has really helped us stay on track and kind of stay within so we know what each other's going for.
Right. It that whole thing from the beginning, the first record, it created an internal writing style for Tony and I. Like he just said a second ago, we need something sleazy and swingy. And I came up with that. And the original name he came up with for the song, Tony, I could not pronounce it if my life depended on it. So tell it, it was 3 different names, and tell him what it was. And I just said, hold a whore, because I couldn't say it. Tell him.
So it's called the Holodomor, which is actually the Ukrainian famine. And in a nutshell, you'll love this, Tom. In a nutshell, when these two countries converted to communism, China, they called it the Great Leap Forward. And then they pulled everybody out of the fields and put them in the factories and then went, oh my God, we don't have enough food. And 20 million people died. But that's not evil. That's just dumb planning. How the Russians did it was they were like, oh my God, we don't have enough food. Let's take Ukraine's. So there's the difference.
Right. So I could never say that word correctly. So now on the record, it can be for those that use the hunger,
because that's
which we like, and then I wanted in parentheses to say hold a whore. And we went, well, that'll just be a joke between us, and we'll just call it the hunger, Carl. Much easier to pronounce. You know what I mean? So that's what I kept saying. What are you saying? I knew what the story was, but I couldn't say that word for the life of me. I go, this is much easier for me to say this word. I know this better. So we just went with the hunger then. So that's a little funny history behind that song that's on the new record.
Jack the Ripper is really cool. Scotland Yard, Find Me. What was that? What's the hook in that? That was very clever.
So let me tell you about that. What makes that song interesting is we actually gave Jack the Ripper a writing credit on it, number one, because the pre-chorus on that, I'm actually reading the letter that Jack the Ripper wrote to the Central London News Agency where he taunts the cops. That's the letter that he wrote, and
the official letter.
Yeah, the argument behind that is if the letter's real or not. Some people argue that the letter was written by the newspaper people themselves to sell newspapers and scare the public, and others say no, Jack really wrote that. So by including it, that's why you get the pre-chorus is spoken, because obviously he doesn't rhyme anything. So I couldn't get a good cadence on it, but it worked out well.
It's cool.
Jack the Ripper a writing credit. So
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about the Jack the Ripper video? Who did it? You know, how you guys came up with the concept for that. Great video. It's out. That was your first single that came out too. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Tony and I talked about a first video. We were spinning our heads around which one it should be. And, it really came down to either Genghis Khan or Jack the Ripper. And then, Tony kind of convinced me that it should be Jack the Ripper first, because there's so much, not that any of them aren't interesting stories, but the letter, the story, the lyrics. And I said, okay, that'd be a good idea. And I said, our guys that do the video, we need to keep the video in that time frame, how he dressed, the cape, the old streets, and the State Fair time when this was done, Whitechapel Street, whatever. So when you see the video, you can tell in pictures, well, this is like you're right in that time. And that was a major thing to go along with the lyrics. And our guy that's done several other videos for us, I think he nailed it.
Yeah, Saul did the video for Saul did the video for Destination Aftermath as well from the first album. And so he was like, hey, I'd like a crack at that. Absolutely. So we had him do the video for Jack the Ripper, and I think it came out fantastic. I mean, lyric videos, it's kind of hard to keep them interesting because obviously it's just words spitting across the screen. But I think he did a really great job. And then we did a world build at the very end of it, trying to put you in that Whitechapel area. It's raining in London. So he went to a live photo for, it's AI based, I believe, but to try and make it look like it's live. And Dave's idea was to have Jack pulling the knife out. It came out. I thought it came out very well.
Hear the sword or knife, whichever it would be.
Right.
Yeah, I thought they did it great. The imagery was Tom. The imagery was fantastic, and I loved it. I was impressed, and it's a relatable. Everybody kind of knows Jack the Ripper story, so that just made it more impactful.
Yeah, well, people have their theory about, well, in real life, as of this moment right now, still to this date, obviously, they never caught him. They claim, was he a doctor? Was he a psycho police officer at the time? Nobody really knows. And like Tony said, did they write that letter for the newspaper? Either way, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it was real, it happened, it's history, and it's documented. So we wrote a song about it.
Well, and honestly, it's the first publicly renowned serial killer. I mean, obviously, if you really think about it, serial killing had its heyday in the 70s. That's when all the good stuff happened.
The good
But-
stuff. Okay.
right. But that was the first one that really captured the imagination. And the only other serial killer that Dave and I put on the record was Jeffrey Dahmer, just because Dahmer was he gripped the entire nation in the 90s. People just were like, he did what? And they're still making Netflix specials about the guy. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we turned the whole album into that, and Genghis Khan and other things. And I'll say this, and I can say it, and Tony and I know it. Some people may listen to the record and go, wow, that's fantastic music. Love what you guys did. Why are you singing about those people? Because it really happened. Why have they made movies and documentaries about these people? All we did was take that and Tony and my vision and put it into music. And frankly, I think we did a great job with everybody's help and us that was involved. We can do it. Who can tell us no? Right?
The songs are, it's thematic. I think it's like musical cinema. I mean, it lends itself to whatever videos you're doing. I mean, I think it's great, and it's a great concept. So, and it's not your everyday concept.
That's for sure.
Thank you. And you know what, Dave and I really do got to give a shout out to Joe Tiberi, who Hail Mechana. Those guys are friends of ours. Joe helps engineer and produce for Dave and I, and he is just an incredible musician in his own right. Yeah. And we've learned a lot just working with him too. So
certainly.
Well, why don't we
vocals were great.
Why don't we talk about the other GraveReign? Let's hear the other guys in GraveReign. Name your players that are there. And are you guys doing any live dates?
So that's why we got that's why we extended the band. So originally during this was formed during the pandemic. It was literally Dave was supposed to be on tour in Argentina, and my bass player in my band had passed away, so I was going to retire. And the label that we were with hit me up to do some sync licensing stuff. And then Dave and I started writing together, and then the pandemic kept getting extended. So Dave and I just kept writing. And
that because it put off the release of my last DSG record. And I said, Tony, Pure Steel's doing their thing. We don't know you. Let's get going. And once he and I started, boom, fire away, Tone.
So then we were like, hey, eventually we knew we wanted to bring this to a live stage. And, he and I had talked about different areas of, do we want to fly in tracks for some of the stuff? Because we do, not for music, but for the sound effects that we're using and whatnot. So one of our best friends is Jack Lazor. He's a fantastic guitar player and a great singer. So we asked him to jump on with us, and he does rhythm guitar. Mick Lucid is in a handful of cover tribute bands, and we were like, hey, man, you want to do some original stuff? Come join us. So he did.
Was involved in our first record and is with us on the second one.
Yep, and he plays bass, and then Michael Ray is drums. So Michael's probably got the hardest job because he's got to learn all this stuff too. So
yeah, but
what about live dates? What about live dates? Do we have any live? Are you guys planning live shows this summer to follow up with the record?
So we're probably going to be aiming for more of the fall, just because coming out in the summer is extremely hard, just from a business perspective, because you're kind of competing with Taste of Insert Town here. So it's hard to get people to come to the clubs and see you if everybody's playing free festivals at, town stuff. So exactly. Dave and I are probably aiming for more of the third quarter this year. Once we get into Labor Day weekend, you'll probably see that the GraveReign ship is starting to launch. We're getting live shows. As far as how often we're going to play, it really depends. I mean, Chicago is such a weird market nowadays. It's really dominated by the cover and tribute bands because it's safe. I mean, hey, if we get a night off, you're going to go see some band that's playing Whitesnake. Okay, at least I know what they're playing.
Or every band plays Journey, Boston, or Styx, and some are better than others, but it doesn't matter. People enjoy it. It's all entertainment.
Absolutely. But it's harder to get, some traction as an original band, but that's obviously where we get our rocks. I mean, I want to write, I want to be a writer. I want to be creative. I don't want to trade on somebody else's stuff. I prefer to write my own. And Dave and I have really approached that in all of our projects, because he and I have also projects outside of it. But
the one thing we have in our favor is I'm from Chicago. Tony's from Chicago. We've had bands in Chicago prior to me in Manowar and after Manowar, the DSG stuff, Tony Veilside, where we came together and played for a while that started all this. is we have a great reputation in Chicago, as people say, Chicago legends, whatever, bar stars that's been around forever, that I'm convinced with the amount of press we do and saturation of social media, when it's the right time with the right stuff and the right places that Tony and I know where we can put the band and have other bands with us at a wall of swag, that will do well. And people that know us will come and see us, and that will bleed over to the next crowd, to build that up for what we do and go from there, so on and so on.
Yeah, your stuff is really cool, and I'm sure it's going to catch fire organically as well, because you're putting it out there, and I think it only takes a small handful of people to go nuts and to start spreading the word, and those next people.
That's kind of what we're hoping for.
Yeah. I think you're poised for that. By the way, I have a question for you, David. Do you need help with sweet picking? Do I need to help you with some of that? You seem
Here's the question, and I was telling Tom, because I needed advice from him. I've built my life around the greatest guitarist and band that's ever walked on this planet that came from outer space, and that would be ABBA, Bjorn. If you see the clothes they wear, you can tell they are not from this planet. So I was just getting A major because A minor was too hard. I wasn't able to get that. I'm in book 1. I've been studying by mail for about a week now. So I think I'm doing pretty good.
You got the aptitude, I think. Keep it up. I couldn't believe
I think I'm on my way.
I couldn't believe over the years, some of your solos are just, and some of your solos are from outer space.
Oh, thank you. Let me respond to that. And Tony can tell you, ever since the first record, everything I did before Manowar, after Manowar, because everything in Manowar was all Joey Eric. We don't need to go down that road. But I'm proud of that record. It's the first Manowar record that ever went platinum, gold, and platinum, and is still one of the best records to this day. That's another discussion. Is that I write my solos to the music and the rhythms I play. When I send the song to Tony and I go, here's verse, chorus, here's what I'm thinking the solo. Sometimes Tony will say, let's extend that because he's going to do some vocal thing up to the solo. And I just don't sit around and just blow chops. I listen to the song without any vocals, with vocals, and I go, Tom, what is the rhythm telling me? What is the theme of this song about? What is the attitude behind the lyrics, or what I perceive in my mind, and write the solo? Because one thing, I'm a harmony god. Like Brian May, I got harmonies all over, but I do them in question and answer. So it makes sense as I develop, because I write my solos to fit. So it's not just some guy just sitting around noodling and try and paste together something. And that's why I like to do that, like how Tony and I work together. I'll go, hey, I'm going to do this 1-2-part, end on a 3-part harmony to carry in to where it'll complement where his voice is going after that. It all works together. And that's what we do. That's what I do. In every band, I write solos to the rhythm, whatever that may be.
And that's what I loved about the solo in Jack the Ripper. It was orchestrated. It was, beautiful. It was also blindingly fast, but it was orchestrated. Not,
Thank you.
It was amazing.
It's not just always about speed, but it's feel, melody, and how I use the harmonies to help enhance the tension of what is happening in the solo. That's kind of a big thing I'm known for.
We use that word a lot too when we're doing them, guys. It just you'll hear tension. Hey, Dave, we need a tension up here. So because obviously we call it utilizing the real estate. When you got a 7-minute song, you want it to sweep through movements so that you don't. Right. I don't want you to look at your watch. I want you to go, holy crap, that was 7 minutes. That flew by. Right. That's what we're aiming for.
Right.
Well, the harmonies were supporting the melody. That's what was impressive to me. Like I said, orchestrated. It was very, very clever and well thought out.
And there's sometimes Tony will go, do more of that. That's good. And I'll go, well, I did some here. I think it's great. That's right. And he'll go, do this 3-part here because I'm going to come in with this in the atmosphere. It'll be cool. And most of the time that'll work, or other times will fade me down where he comes in. But sometimes he'll think of something when he hears what I've already done, and he'll go, oh, I want more of this, more of that. And I'll go, More harmony? Okay. What I mean.
Okay, guys.
That's why we work together so great. We just do. We just do.
Okay, guys. So we're getting down to the last 5 minutes of the show. So let's talk about when you're releasing it and where people can buy this. Let's talk about the date and everything. Just tell us a little bit about that. And right now, there's some pre-sales going on. So tell people where they can get that too. Go ahead.
Start off, Tom.
The pre-sales are on our website, GraveReignBand.com.
Store.
And then go to the store tab for that. Yeah. We're excited because we're new to FireRock Music Group, and we're actually going to be released on FireRock on July 10th. 10th, that's right. So, and we're excited because the pre-sales have technically ended. We're actually already in print, and we're you could still order the CD, obviously, but if you're looking for physical product, but we're very excited because we're going worldwide on July 10th with our second record and our first with FireRock. I want to thank you guys for everything, for believing in us and giving us an opportunity.
We are happy to be here. And, as we move forward with the pre-sales and what we're doing with you guys and the release, we're already thinking about rehearsals and the second lyric video. And at some point, we will do a band video now that we brought Jack and Mike in. It's nothing to find the right club. And there's some great ones that have great PAs and lights around here to get the band on stage and actually, for an example, play one of our songs and have it be a video, but of the band live, like you do, sync to the record or whatever. That will eventually come, but we'll be working on soon the next lyric video as we move forward together as a team.
You know what song that's going to be? Can you tell our audience?
Yes, we do. Tony, do we want to tell them or do we not?
I think we're going to give Genghis Khan a little shout out.
Good old Genghis Khan. He's a real nice guy and people seem to like him. No.
Absolutely.
No.
Well,
So
guys,
that'll probably be the next one, Genghis Khan.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming, Carl. Thanks for being a co-host. And so it's GraveReign.com, am I right? Is there anything else? Any other places?
GraveReignBand.com.
That's the website. And then there's our social media band page, GraveReign. And we just started to want to push now our YouTube channel, and that's coming along. But it's mostly the website, our Facebook page, and then the YouTube channel as we put videos out and content up. And so that's where we're heading with it. And I would certainly, Carl, like to be in touch with you and, when we're done with this, talk about maybe some future things together. If you have the time, just Tony and I, we just talk and just kind of talk about it,
I would love that. And I'm happy to share on my social media any of your advertisements for that as well. And I think it's a good omen. Ronnie James Dio was born July 10th. That's your release date, so that's a good vibe right there.
Oh, how about that? I didn't know that. Well, that's a good thing. He wrote the book. I read it, so I get it, and it's all good.
Okay, guys, we're going to go, but thanks so much. We'll talk.
Thank you so much for having us on here, buddy. It was great, man. Everybody, FireRock, GraveReign, we're ready.